Okay, let's review domain and range. Remember, let me just give you a couple more examples over here. If we have an XY chart, let's just make up some points here. Domain is our X numbers, so sometimes we can just list the domain as a list of numbers. I'll use D to represent domain, and we always use the curly brackets when we're talking about domain and range. The Y values of the points represent our range. So we could just list those since we only have a couple points listed. Sometimes our domain and range is just a list of values. Okay, the examples here are a little more challenging. We're looking for the domain, so we're looking for all of the X values that are used. Okay, and remember the open circle is representing like a greater than or a less than instead of a greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So in this example, it looks like the only X values that are used are from 0 and up to our positive numbers. So for our domain, we're going to say X is anything greater than 0. So we can use the 0 where it starts, but since it's an open circle, we'll just use greater than instead of greater than or equal. Our range, we want to look at the Y values. If you look at this graph, the only thing graphed on the Y-axis are numbers that are greater than 1. So our Y-axis, our range would be Y is greater than 1. Okay, let's look at the second example. For our domain, you can see that we have the only thing on our x-axis that is graphed is between -3 and 4. Okay, this one's an open circle, so it's going to be everything up to 4 but not including 4. This one is a closed circle, so it will include -3. And if you remember, the way that we write between or write a range of numbers is by putting x in the middle. Okay, so the only x values that are used are between -3 and 4. The closed circle is why we have x with an equal sign underneath. The open circle means anything less than 4 but not including 4. For our range, we want to do the same thing but look on the y-axis. Looks like it stops at 3 on the y-axis and it starts, at 0 on the y-axis. So we're going to set up a similar range of values. Looks like what y has to be between 0 and 3. Open circle for 0, so that's why we use this less than sign. And y is less than or equal to 3 because it's a closed circle.